This is our presentation for simulation 220 for team 2. Alright. Okay, so first for our Edgar production, we kind of got, for most of the production plans, we ended up having to kind of switch up how we were ordering from what we planned to. We kind of stayed along the line in the beginning, but then we spiked production for Edgar in the fall because there's a higher demand for it. For Taj Mahal, we kind of went way off of what we planned. The sales for it were going up and down, and we didn't stock up enough in the beginning. So we ended up dipping really low in the summer and then making up for it again in the fall. And then, so we had kind of an excess and then not enough of it at some points in the sim. And then for Alley Cat, we kind of stayed pretty much what we planned for. We dipped a little bit in the fall, but otherwise we stayed pretty on track.
All right, this is my slide. This is like not the greatest picture. I couldn't really get it to upload the greatest. But so this is our spreadsheet plan. Alley Cat represents the blue line. We put in a lot of orders for inventory in the beginning of the year for it to sell throughout the summer months as we were seeing the dip. And then throughout, what was it, Edgar and Taj Mahal, we kind of just kept steady throughout the year and saw sales steady throughout the year, dropping and just raising back up to a medium. How do we control the slides? Okay, there we go. So then this is our inventory history from like the actual simulation. Alley Cat, just its production selling throughout the beginning of the year, then dropping in the summer because it's selling. It's selling as soon as we put in orders, it just keeps on selling. And then same for Taj Mahal and Edgar. They're just steady throughout the months, throughout the beginning of the year. I think we did pretty good with keeping it on track just for the simulation. I think we did pretty well. Next one. So our loans and repayments, or I mean payments, repayments, whatever. We took out loans for the triple B and the double B. And we got our 5th fermenter for beer to increase our production. We started to make payments once we had enough money, which was around April. We would make from like $2,000 to $10,000 payments. The highest one was for like 30, but that was for like the $1 million one that we didn't really have to focus on for the simulation. So I just did one for that round. And then so I just put them in order from the highest interest, as you can see down here. And then those two are the reflected loans that we took out. And then the results, the triple B loan for building and improvements took us from April to September to pay off. We got that one done. The double B took us from May to September to pay off. And also like the payments were coming out from the minimal balance from every due date that we got, even if we weren't doing payments, but the beginning of the months we were just trying to make extra, I guess. The AAA we got down to, and then which one was it? This one we didn't really get to pay off, but we were really close to it. And then obviously the $1 million one, we just kept doing it. No, we kept doing it, but we just kept leaving it off for like towards the next simulation.
Okay, so for the price changes, we pretty much stayed like with our plan of which prices to change on what months. But for Taj Mahal, our plan was to start at 1750 and to change it to 17 in October. And we ended up starting at 1750, like we said, but we did change to 17 in September, but it's pretty close. I think it was just a little different. And then for Edgar, our plan was to start at 1550 and to change to 1450 in June, and then to change to 14 in October. And we ended up changing to 1450 in June like we planned, but then we changed to 14 in September. And for Alley Cat, we our plan was to change to 16 in July and then back down to 1550 in August and down to 15 in October. And we ended up changing to 16 in June and changed to 1550 in August. And then we went back down to 15 in September. And then we did change down to 1450 in November. And then we went back up.
So for end results for financial statements, we, well, for gross profit, we made, $831,870 or $337, and then expenses we had $560,000, and then for assets we had 3,793,900 or 790, and then liabilities we had 1,400,000 and or 403,471, and then for owner's equity we had 2,000,000 $318.
For our key takeaways, I feel like a lot of it just had to do with like teamwork and working together. But communicating beforehand had allowed our team to create like a well thought out strategy. So like getting to class a little early and talking out our plan beforehand. And then even though we had a plan beforehand, we made small adjustments that allowed us to make the changes that were necessary. And then we split up the roles evenly, so that helped with communicating and knowing what we need to change.